Good morning, everyone. Just going to wait for you guys to tune in. Good morning. Good morning. Another day, another immigration updates. Just going to wait for you guys to trickle in. Good morning. Good morning, Hope One. I'm Gladson. Marez, good morning. Good morning, YouTube, and good morning, Facebook, and good morning, Instagram. Eva Mary, good morning, Melanie, good morning. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer here in Atlanta. I help clients all over the United States in all 50 states with their family immigration matters, their humanitarian matters, consular processing, appeals, naturalization waivers, and all of that good stuff. And, some removal cases. If you want to schedule a consult with our firm, you can call us at 407-995-6567. You can also call our other line, which is, let me see if I can remember, it's 678-325-1037. Or you can send a text message to 404-333-8751. Someone said, you look brighter today. Thank you. I'm just taking it one day at a time. So today I just wanted to, before we get started with the live, I wanted to kind of talk about the new visa bond requirement that came out yesterday. Honestly, even for me as an attorney, like the rules are just they're moving so fast and so confusing. Today's the law, tomorrow the law is different, that I can't even imagine, what regular people who are navigating the process and do this for a living, what and how they're supposed to process and understand this. Yes, I do handle N600 as well. And you can ask your questions and I'll answer it after. So basically, let me just get into it. Obviously, I'm going to read this because, it's a long list. And just to kind of explain what it is, yes, you're right, Sunnison, rules are changing fast. And this is why every single time, when we come in here as attorneys and tell you guys don't understand, like immigration is a very, very big political tool. Like immigration changes significantly in every political climate, any new administration, any new regime that enters into office. And that's why you should never dilly-dally in your case. If you're eligible for something, you need to apply so that when you do apply, you'll be eligible, because there are many things that people file for that when the laws change, they're not retroactive except this adjudicative hold. So that's why it's very important to apply when you're eligible instead of waiting for a perfect time. Just like when people say, I want to have a child, but I'm waiting for the perfect time. I want to do this, I'm waiting for, there's no perfect time to do anything, because every time you then think it's the perfect time, you may no longer be eligible. So anyway, let me get back to it. So these visa bonds, I'm sure you guys knew sometime last year, end of summer, they basically had listed a few countries, like a handful of countries, basically saying that, these countries would have to pay a visa bond in order to be able to get a visa to come into the United States on a tourist visa, B1, B2. So yesterday, this list was updated. And I think the confusing part for many is that this list now includes people who were on the partial ban list, of the B1, B2, a full ban list of the B1, B2. So this to me means that from January 21st, which I'll get into in a second, that some of these countries will now be able to apply for a B1, B2, or they will still go ahead and interview them. And then they will make a decision at that time whether or not they can receive a B1, B2 visa. Before I get into the list of countries, the first thing I want to talk about is, what does the bond entail? So basically, it's saying that anyone that is a citizen or national traveling on the passport of the countries that I'm about to list, that if they find them eligible for a tourist visa, so a B1, B2 visa, they must post a bond of either $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000. What does it mean to post a bond? It means that you're going to pay a fee that when you do return, that fee will be paid back to you. So there is no country. So I saw already this morning people running with it and saying, oh, like i.e. someone posted Nigeria subject to $15,000 bond. But here's the thing. These bonds amount is going to be very individualized, meaning if they approve Jane is going to be told what she is eligible for, whether it's $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000. If they approve John's amount could be different, even if they're from the same country, right? So the requirement is that you must submit this amount. If they find you're eligible for B1, B2, you must submit the money. You must also submit a form to DHS, which is called the I-352. And then, you pay the bond through, pay.gov, which is a government platform to pay. And you don't pay it until the consulate tells you that you should pay it and the amount that you should pay. And then this is the part that is interesting. So there are only 3 ports of entry that you can come into the United States through if you're from one of these countries. And those ports of entry are going to be Boston Logan International Airport, John F. Kennedy International Airport, which is in New York, and Washington Dulles International Airport, which is in the Washington, D.C. Well, technically it's in Virginia, but it's the D.C. Airports. So those are the only entry that you can fly into if you're from one of those countries. And if you don't do this, let me see what it says. So you must come in and you must exit from those countries. Not countries, those ports of entry. My brain is just whatever. And then when you return, the bond will be canceled and the money will be returned back, right? If you don't, let me see what else they said here. And then if you breach the bond or if you decide to stay here, then DHS will refer you to USCIS if there's a breach, basically. So let me list the countries. I'm going to list just the new ones because, all the other ones, the other handful were already there before. So Algeria. So everything that I'm listing now, this applies to you after January 21st. So it will be interesting to see, since a lot of those countries are on the original December 16th entry ban list, how they will start processing it. But as we find out, or as I find out, I'll let you guys know. So Algeria, Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Bangladesh, Benin, Botswana is starting January 1st. So last week, Burundi, Cabo Verde, Cote d'Ivoire, which is Ivory Coast, Cuba, Djibouti, Dominica, Fiji, Gabon, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Kyrgyzstan, let's see what other countries are new here, Nepal, Nigeria. I know a lot of you here are Nigerians. So starting January 21st for Nigeria and some of these other countries, if they allow you to get a B1, B2, you will be told whether you're going to pay $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000. So they're going to be looking a lot at your family ties and strong ties back to your home country, probably your history of travel and how often you've traveled to the United States and come back without issue and all of those things. Other countries here on the list are Tajikistan, Togo, Tonga, Tuvalu, some of those countries I've never heard of even in my life. Uganda, Vanuatu, Venezuela. Yeah, that's it. That's actually it. Everything else, let me make sure and Zimbabwe, because Zambia was already on the list from the last time. There was that list from August where they had Zambia and what are the other 5 countries here? They had the Gambia, those ones, they had earlier in Mauritania and Tanzania, but these are all new. So, starting January 21st, and for some of them it's actually January 1st, you would know. Someone is asking, what about people who already have a visa? If you already have a visa, this doesn't apply to you. This only applies if you are getting a visa after this rules were placed. So for you on this, for the people I'm talking about today, those would be people after January 6th. And then there are other people that would have been, last year, like I think about 5 or 6 of the countries, or maybe 7. So yeah, so that's the update for visa bonds. Zoe, I literally just answered that question. You asked how about people who already have 5-year visa. I literally just answered that question. If you already have a visa, this is not applicable to you. This is applicable to those who, are applying for the first time and they're making a decision, or people who are applying for renewal, because you do know now that with these countries, even if you've had visas before in the past where you can do like a drop box where you can drop it off and they approve you, now they're requiring everybody basically to have an interview. So yeah. Someone says, will the visa still be valid for just 3 months? Yeah, so this person, you're obviously speaking specifically about Nigeria because I can see you have a Nigerian name. I don't know, so I can't answer you until we know. But as of today, that's what the rule is, that if you are from some of these countries, I don't know all the countries and what the requirement is, but I know for Nigeria, since you are from Nigeria, it's a 3-month single entry visa, meaning they will approve you for a 3-month single entry tourist visa. In the past, it used to be multiple entries where you can go in and come out, but for 5 years, but now it's 3 months. Is it just for tourist visas or does it include student visas? This specifically is talking about tourist visas. This specifically is talking about tourist visas, so I can't tell you anything else until, something else. But this is specifically to combat people who get tourist visas that end up overstaying on their tourist visas. Any idea on the processing time for an F2B visa that started from VAWA? Biometrics are completed about 3 months ago. Country, Jamaica, approved VAWA for mother sponsoring child. I'm sorry, I know you asked this question yesterday. I don't understand your question. How, like when you say F2B, like I'm very confused. Is the mother a green card holder? Because the mother is not eligible to file for a child that's over 21 if they don't have a green card. So that's why, I don't understand your question. So either you schedule a consultation and give the scenario so I can understand. If the question you're asking is that the mother filed for VAWA when the child was under 21, but now the child is over 21, then their age is locked in. Their age is locked in. So even though they're over 21, they're still going to be considered, under the age of 21 for VAWA purposes. So I hope that's answering your question, because you can't sponsor, a child F2B under VAWA. It doesn't make any sense. So either I'm not understanding your question, or you can, schedule a call or rephrase it. Can someone who is in America still file for a marriage petition considering the fact that Nigeria is on the partial ban list? This is a good question. So 2 things that I want to point out. The partial ban list, and let me be very clear to make sure you guys understand this. The partial ban list is for entry into the United States. Entry into the United States means you are not in the United States and you are trying to enter the United States. So again, the partial ban list is for entry into the United States, meaning you're not in the United States. Now, if you are in the United States, what you are going to experience right now as of January 1st is an adjudicative hold. It is not a ban, but it is a hold. It means that right now they're holding approvals on any cases for the next 90 days so they can give them an modus of operandi, basically, how they're going to process this case. So what can you expect? Expect heightened scrutinization of your application, security, research, clearance, interviews, re-interviews. And so that's what you can expect, but we won't know until 90 days. Well, hopefully they'll tell us in 90 days, which is what they've said, which will be April 1st. So in that scenario, you can still apply, but they're just not going to approve your case if your case was eligible to be approved within that window until they lift the adjudicative hold. So I hope that is clear. If you'd like to start your case, I don't know if you've consulted with us, you can call our office 407-995-6567, and someone will be able to help you. If you consulted with us, you have our email. You can also send an email, and we'll respond back to you. With the hold, as a work permit on hold as well. Yes, if it is a CO9 work permit, it is on hold as well. There are a few exceptions with CO8, C14 with some exceptions, and there's one more. I think it's C11. Don't quote me on the C11. There's one more. But most normal adjustment of status applications based on, being married to a U.S. citizen or any of those petitions, the approval of the work permit is on hold as well. Again, you can file, but it's on hold. Okay. All right, guys, let me just type my phone number here because they keep asking me to pin it. It's very hard for me to type and talk at the same time. So just give me a second. WhatsApp number. Okay, let me see. Let me pin it. So you guys should be able to see it now. I think maybe before I start talking in the future, I'm just going to be putting my phone number and pinning it. I always want to do that and I forget. Is there a time limit to apply for adjustment of status if your visa has been expired for over 4 years? No. You, as long as you're eligible, meaning that you are married to a U.S. citizen or you are the child of a U.S. citizen and you're under 21, or you are the parent of a U.S. citizen who's over 21 and you entered with inspection. Inspection means you came in and you were inspected at a border and approved to enter, either based on a visa. There's certain visas that won't allow you to adjust, like a crewman or C1, D1 visa, but otherwise there's no time limit. Are I-130 applications still possible for married Nigerians? Yes, they are still possible. That said, there is an adjudicative hold. What that means is you can apply. They're just not going to make a decision, at least for the next 90 days. But quite frankly, nobody's cases are getting approved in 90 days anyway, even if there was no adjudicative hold. So if you were filing for an I-130 alone, my assumption is that you need a priority date. So if I were you, I'll file so you can lock in your priority date. So when all of this, is clearer, you have a date earlier because there's going to be a rush. Or a backlog, I should say. I remember in the previous Trump's administration when they banned Nigeria and 6 other countries from processing their cases. Once that was lifted, the ban, the whole time ended up being like 3 years. I mean, we were just only recovering from a timeline perspective. That now I foresee that again, because backlog means that hold means that once it's lifted, there are people that have been sitting dormant and now they have to start processing. Okay. Can a green card holder apply for citizenship, or can a 2-year conditional green card holder still remove conditions? Okay, let me see if I understand your question. A green card holder is the only way to apply for citizenship. You have to be a green card holder to apply for citizenship. That said, you have to meet the requirements for citizenship. In order to apply for citizenship within 3 years of being a green card holder, you have to prove that, one, you were married to a U.S. citizen for 3 years. Your U.S. citizen spouse has been a U.S. citizen for 3 years, and you have had your green card for 3 years. And if you have a conditional green card, that is also included in the count. Okay. If you don't, okay. And then the other requirement is you can apply under 3 years if you are a victim of abuse, whether that's via VAWA I-360 or whether that is via the removal of conditions 2-year green card waiver based on extreme cruelty. Those would be the times where you can use the 3 years. Outside of that, it's going to take you 5 years. And the earliest time you can apply either the 3 year mark or the 5 year mark is 90 days before you hit that date. I mean, of course, there's some other requirements that you have to meet, one of which, and I want to make sure, because a lot of people don't know this, that when you apply for citizenship, the state that you live in or the city that you live in, you have to have lived there for at least 90 days before you submit your application. Because if you do submit your application and that is not met, they will not have jurisdiction and will have to deny the case until you meet that. So that might be something a lot of people are just learning for the first time today. Okay. Okay. Let me see. I guess this person's been asking a question. Okay, I live with the same wife, but I got a green card from VAWA due to her abuse. Can I apply for citizenship? Yes, you can apply for citizenship. There are many people who stay in abusive marriages, whether they're immigrants or American citizens. Many people stay in relationships where they've called the cops on their spouses, they've bailed their spouses out of jail. So that does not stop you from being eligible for citizenship because your wife was abusive to you. So yeah, you can. Did I just use a curse word? Sorry, guys, if I just did. Okay. Are the USCIS agents on Emma Live chat valid? Yes, they are. Deja Sibless, yes, she had helped me out a lot with my husband's case. She's the GOAT. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Do you think it is risky applying now with everything going on, especially being on an overstayed visa? So the question for you is, do you think it's risky sitting down and just planning to sit in your house for the next 4 years without having any status? On any given day, you can be stopped. Life is a risk. Every day you step out of your house, you're risking. It's like saying, I'm not going to drive my car because I could get into an accident. I'm not going to fly because, the planes are crashing every day. But if you're eligible for something, you should absolutely file. Or you're going to say, you know what, I have money to buy a house, but you know what, the economy is bad. I could lose my job today, so I'm just going to sit here. You're more at risk not having any petition. Like, you have nothing. So if you filing, you go get an NTA while you have your petition pending, you're eligible for one, then you go to court and plead your case in court, because then at least you have something that you're eligible for versus you not having anything, right now. So to answer your question, life is a risk. It's always a risk, applying in any administration if you don't have an airtight case. So your goal should be, making sure you have an airtight case. Your goal should be making sure that you have a good faith marriage and your wife or your husband is supportive in making sure that you guys gather the right evidence to apply. Because you're an overstayed does not make you ineligible right now. The rules are that if you are married to a U.S. citizen, even though you're an overstayed, but you entered with inspection, you're eligible for adjustment. We go to interviews still every day. And people are getting approved every day. Where I see the most people, I would say, in our firm, people that have come to us or like, oh, I need to file another case or my case was denied. I need to appeal or do something. Where I see people get NTAs are people that have had really, really bad interviews or their cases were denied. And a lot of times, when you start to look at those applications, a lot could have been avoided if they sought legal guidance before they undertook, something like this. Like, I am telling you guys, like, immigration is so complex. Like, I see some lawyers that are in my live right now who are immigration lawyers, and they can testify to it. Like, even for us, dissecting the info, because you're in constant study mode, so because what I'm telling you today may be a different rule tomorrow. So like, I feel like I'm a constant student. So like the idea that you think that, you as a layman, you're just going to go on Google and but you're not a foot soldier seeing what is happening every day and the decisions or what they're assessing, like that you think that or you have an idea based on just little sound bites from different people. That is the risk, to me. Trying to use ChatGTP to tell you that ChatGTP, God knows how many times ChatGTP gives rules and laws that don't exist or are not valid, or the rules are changing so quickly that ChatGTP can't even catch up. So you want to make sure that, of course, before you assume the risk, you get yourself educated, schedule a consultation. Yes, you guys can come here and digest what I'm saying on live. Go to the next lawyer, digest what they're saying in the live. Go to someone else who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about and digest that. And then all of a sudden you have information. Like, I'm not saying like I'm the one that knows everything or knows it all, but again, like I've told you guys, like I literally don't have time to waste, So for me, this is not about, let me come give you guys like some tea, like to make you guys scared. Like, I only give you guys information once it becomes law, not when it's rumor has it, because it doesn't serve any purpose, right? So I say all of this to say, as long as you have your ducks in a row, you should file if you're eligible, or whoever the attorney that you schedule with says that you're eligible, but make sure you're scheduling with a competent attorney, because I have heard people say they hired someone that they thought was an attorney, but then they found out they weren't an attorney, which is kind of unbelievable, but I guess it's happening. Okay, guys. I just saw the time. I have to get off. I'm very sorry if I couldn't answer all your questions. But again, schedule a call. I'll be happy to answer it, or you just wait for my next live. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'm going to try, unless I have a USCIS interview. I had an interview this morning, so I actually wasn't supposed to be live this interview, but that interview got canceled. That's why I'm live. But I'm going to try to come on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern every day. I will try, to the best of my ability. But if, I'm very busy, I won't come up, but I will try. So you can put that in your bookmark or whatever it is. And I'm saying it out to hold myself accountable to do it. But I hope you guys have a good day, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.